let's get the meeting started. You can,
This meeting is being transcribed.
everybody heard that? We are being recorded. Let's see, we do have a quorum. We have everybody here in person. Thank you all, and I apologize I couldn't be here in person last time. The board is here, board attorney and our director. Any corrections or additions, changes to the agenda? Anybody need to add anything or tweak anything? All right, then that will stay as is. The approval of the minutes. I know Laverne is on point and she did read it and respond last night. Did anybody have any questions or did everybody have enough time to review those? If so, would someone be willing to make a motion to that effect?
This is for the regular meeting, right?
Yeah, that's for the March 18th meeting.
Move we accept the minute.
Second.
All right, that is for the regular meeting. Any discussion? Not all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, that's unanimous. And then the closed session, which was also there. Would someone make a motion for?
So moved.
So before you do, I'm sorry, I noticed I had one error on the closed session, the statement for closed meeting. It said library and it needed to say multipurpose room. It said library and then multipurpose room. So I apologize. That was mine. Oh, I corrected it on the version that's in your folders and on the version that you'll sign. So it doesn't need to go in the minutes as a correction. I just want to let you all know it was different from the one.
I'm going to make a motion based on what we've got in the folder.
Perfect, yeah. Second.
Vern seconded. All right, any discussion? If not, all in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, that's as well. And I think that's all we have with our minutes. So we are right to our director's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Just read my note. And then here's this, you and Laverne signed this one, and then this one is the one that you just signed for presiding officer. So good morning, everybody. It's been extremely busy. You can tell by the list of important events and dates and things that we've done since we last met with you guys in March on the 18th. One of the highlights that I wanted to talk about is that we are at the end of the path to election excellence, and my hope and goal, and from my lips to God's ears, is that I can submit the all the documentation required for the certification this week. And I'm hoping by the next time I see you in May, I can say that we're certified. We'll be one of the first in the country to complete the whole process. And I'll have more details on that. The magazine, us featured in the magazine and the video is also coming out in May. So I'll make sure that I send you guys the link, and then I'll get you copies of the magazine, which is pretty cool. And kudos, and I'm so grateful for the staff that helped through all that process. There's quite a few of them that really bought into it, and it's been a lot of work on top of our regular work that they didn't have to do, but they did. So that our success in that is because of our team, and that it's very much appreciated. I also wanted to note that in your folders are the all the outreach voter registration distribution trainings and then election briefings that we're doing. I'm trying my best to say yes to everybody that asks. If you notice, it's quite a lot. And it does take time and resources for these events, but I think that it's super important that we do as much, as much as those as we're able to, and will continue to do that throughout the entire year. I have a presentation, election briefing that I'm giving for the NAACP on, I don't want to give you the wrong date. I think it's May 6th, and that's a different one. It's May 6th. That one is a virtual one for hundreds of NAACP members. And if you're interested in that link, once I have it, I can share that link with you. All the presenters on that one are virtual. And then there's another event on May 7th, and that's really a candidate forum where candidates are going to be there answering questions, but we will also be there and have a table. And PETA offered to join and assist if we need it. And of course, we welcome that. If anyone knows of any events, whether it's the Republican Central Committee invites me often, so does the Democratic Central Committee. I can't remember when I go back there to do a follow-up briefing from what I gave a month or so ago. Let me know as soon as I know the date for the Republican Central Committee, I'll let you know. But if you all know of any events or whatever that we can join, please let us know. We have the part of what is in your handout is the new Maryland voting in Maryland guide, which I love this. I mean, I used to love it when it looked like this and it's not too attractive. It looked like this for 15 years and the state board revamped it and I put a copy in your folder. We also have the Spanish version because we're required now by Maryland law to have all voter information in English and Spanish. So I ordered both, but this is the new design. Super user friendly. I gave kudos to State Board. I thought they did an excellent job on this. So everybody has one and we do hand these out now at the events. So I just wanted to note that and then give credit to the State Board that it was very much appreciated too. So on to the regular board stuff. Like I said, you can tell by the list of meeting important events that we've been super busy keeping up with everything and preparing for the primary election. The fiscal year 2027 third submission is has happened and a copy of that is in your folders unless the county council or county executive makes changes. That will be the budget that the council approves during their work session or their meeting in May. I have our budget is now $12 million. And it covers the new voting equipment and new poll books that are going to be implemented. The new poll books, as you know, we've been paying the admin fees and we bought a lot of the items necessary for those poll books since 2018. And then the state decided not to use that vendor Demtech. So now we have the new poll books, as I call them. So the things that, if you remember, the things that we received from the original new poll book solution that they were able to resell, like the tablets, we got back 50% of that cost, but it was minimum compared to what we've expended out. And also, if you remember in 24, we were told that we had to buy new printers for the poll books, even though the current printers still worked. And we were told that those printers would fit the new poll book solution. But now that we're not using that new poll book solution and they've switched to a new poll book solution, those printers don't work. So now we are almost finished paying for the new printers and I have to start paying for the new printers and I don't know how else to label these items. And unfortunately, because we're top down, we have to, this is what happens and we have to include these amounts in our budget. So our budget is significantly higher than originally planned because we also are getting a new voting system and that is over, you know, I don't want to say, I don't want to quote the exact price, but because I know that we're being recorded and everything else, but it's very high. And that has to be included starting in the budget, starting in fiscal year 27, even though the equipment will be implemented hopefully in 2028. The poll books are definitely a welcome addition and the new poll books, the new vendor is 10X. And I know that 10X is used throughout the country and both Amanda and I have heard good things about it. Amanda was on the work group for the new voting system. And I think I said this in the last meeting that ES&S was selected for the voting system. So a lot of the equipment will look very similar for our election judges, not for poll books, but for the scanners And then the equipment that we use, like the DS 850, now it's a 950, but it's a smaller, faster version. So we are excited to be getting this new equipment and new poll book. The third thing that we have to take into consideration in our budget is the statewide voter registration system, which is now MD Voters, and it's 20-some years old, just like our poll books. So they are looking to replace that. And we only have just estimated numbers now because it's going through the process with the state. So more information coming on that. As an FYI and reminder, for poll books and voting equipment, we split the cost 50-50 with the state. For the voter registration system, we pay a percentage of, depending on the number of our voter registration. So it's a little bit different in how it's calculated. But the state does share a cost with the voting equipment.
Good question.
Sure.
With regard to the voter registration system, is there any change to how people look up their?
We don't know. We don't even know what the system is yet, the new system. They're just in we don't know. So I have no idea. I'm guessing that as much as possible, the public facing, front facing will be very similar. The link will go to it, same. But I'm guessing. Similar when they got the new campaign finance platform, it was very similar what the candidates had to do. So I'm guessing it'll be on the back end, our end, that looks different and stuff. So, yeah.
Stuff like that. I know it's state contracts and things like that. Do they involve you directors to like test it? Really irks me when somebody up here who doesn't use something says, here's what you've got to use. And you guys are the ones that use it on the day to day that can, whether
Yeah.
it's experience with other directors in other states or other things, because you guys sit on different boards and you have that relationship where you can ask other people like,
So thank you for asking that question. We were not, although we asked to be, we were not included in the poll book work group. They did select people, the regional select people from around the state. Baltimore County was not selected for the poll book work group, so we really had no input on that. However, because I kept talking about why it's important that we are on these groups, they did ask me about for the voting system, and Amanda joined the voting system work group. So she was very involved in that, attended all the meetings. And I believe that her recommendation was the vendor that was selected, right? Yeah. And as far as the voter registration system, I've asked 3 times, can we be a part of that? They sent out a survey or an email saying, please send us the people in your office that are subject matter experts or experts at certain parts of the system, because let's say Amanda might be an expert on petitions, but Kim's an expert in election judges or whatever. So I sent that information, but to the best of my knowledge, nobody from our office has been selected for that work group. But I don't even know if that work group I don't know what's going on with that because there's nobody in our office, but I can follow up again and ask, has the work group been selected, and get more information. But I did, the very same day they asked for the information, I jumped on it and I had Rita and Ron and Kim and the voter services management and supervisors provide me with their expertise on the different modules in the system, and so that I could provide that information. And I did provide that information. And since then I followed up once or twice, once verbally, once written, saying, is there a work group? Is anybody going to be on it? And I haven't heard back. So again, I'll circle back and find out about that one.
yeah, I just, historically, when they establish work groups, are there people that raise their hand and say they want to be around the state, or is it really like they kind of?
It was, the regionals would pick the people to be on it, and it's normally the same,
Volunteering or?
I don't know, but it's normally the same people from a select few counties. And when I mentioned that several times, that's how Amanda got in the voting system work group. But those same people from those counties were still on the work group. So I don't on what work group or whatever. I know that they say that they select somebody from, a large, medium and small jurisdiction. But I don't know anything else after that. But I know that, I do know that this administration, I am not throwing shade on the current past administration, but I know that this administration, they're selecting it differently than the past administration did. The past administration, I think, pretty much left it up to the regional managers, Russell Shafiq and them, to decide who was gonna be on the group. This administration, it appears that they're selecting it different by asking us. Did you have something you wanted to add?
No, that's what they do, because like when they asked about the new voting system, for example, smaller counties don't use 850s. So they took people from small, medium and large, depending on what they use and what they don't use. So
Yeah.
that's when,
And you would think if you're volunteering to do more work, you're not getting paid for this, but you're getting volunteers from a county like ours that are willing to sit on things and help with things, you would think they would look for that.
Yeah. And I always try, just because, and I've tried for years, even before I was director, when I was the administrator, because it always helps large counties when we have a heads up on what's coming down the road. That always seems to help, but, I'll follow up and find out if, what's going on with and I'll find out if there's any more information on it. So anyway, so the budget is in there. I have to go before the county council a couple times, and those dates are listed in the director's report. So far, they are not asking me to come before them for our agency budget. And I have not really received a lot of questions from the council auditors or the administration, but the submission date was just very recent, so I don't know if that'll change, but I think that we're pretty good to go. Our county understands the importance of election security and things. The reason I'm going before the council is to, get their approval on the maintenance and software license agreement for our ballot sorting equipment. I already did the dry run with the county administrative officer, and then I do the council workshop or work session, and then go before the council to get their approval on that. And I do not anticipate, any problems with getting that, contract agreement approved.
You have several county council presentations. Those are all in person?
Yes,
Ballot sorting and other equipment
yes, those are in person.
at their chambers or somewhere at the
Yes,
courthouse?
in their chambers.
They're currently meeting, when they meet in person, in the planning conference room across the street
Across the street.
because of the renovations that are going on in the council for the new 2 additional council reps.
So, and thank you for saying that, but right, I have not gotten the invites I got still say the council chambers. So when, I'm sure when it gets closer, they'll let us know which room to where to go.
Taking over your place over there, huh?
Yeah, because they have to add the 2 more seats. Yeah. But yeah, I knew that they weren't meeting in that room, but so far the invites I have still say that room. So, if that changes, I'll let you all know. As far as our election office, the routine floor cleaning, pest control, all of that keeps happening. As far as our janitorial service, as I have done in the past, I increased the service, when we start having election judge trainings and things like that, because, we have so many people using the bathrooms, and on a day when we have 3 election judge trainings, we have 120, 140, 150 people in our building throughout the day. So that service started to increase the same week that we started the judge training, and it'll stay increased through certification, and then we'll pick it back up when we start the general election judge training at the end of August or beginning of September, and then it'll go through when we certify in November. The disaster recovery and emergency operations, I think I said this at that last meeting, it's been completely updated, but I don't want to distribute it yet because I want to wait until we get closer because I want to make sure the point of contacts are exactly updated and correct. If you want the draft version, I can send it to you, but, it was just to save everybody from having more than one version. I'm waiting until June to send that out. Amanda's keeping up with the battery charging cycle as needed for all of the equipment. The next cycle needs to happen right around the same time that her team will be doing the logic and accuracy testing. So she's just gonna run it concurrently with that. And then good news, we're 99.4% complete on our equipment inventory, which is somewhat of a heavy lift. It's not due till the end of June, but Amanda and I decided it's better to knock it out now than try to have to worry about it when we're also trying to certify an election. I wanted to talk a little bit about shredding. Retention for election documents is normally 22 months, except for like voter authority cards are 36 months. Petitions are forever. There's some things you keep forever, some things you keep for 7 years, some for 5, some for 36 months, but the bulk of election materials are retained for 22 months unless there's a court order. If you remember, there was a federal court order that would not allow us to shred the 2020 documents. Once that court order was removed and we're given permission to shred 2020, we started, but we had so much from 22 and 2020. The cost was a lot, so we had to put that on hold for a minute because I had to figure out where I was gonna get the extra money. Well, now it's time to also shred the 24 primary, and that's voted and unvoted ballots. And we can't recycle those items because I have to attest that the items were destroyed. And recycling is not destroying, but shredding is. The cost of shredding is huge. And then on top of that, there's been several forms that were misprinted or wrong received from the state board that we can't use. And then the provisional applications, we still have a pallet of those. So I made the ask if we can recycle those because it's gonna cost thousands of dollars to shred it. And I was told that they recommend that we don't, and they used the guy looking in the dumpster at Hunt Valley, and they're right, so we need to shred all of those forms that were printed wrong. So
There's no way to work with the county administration and take it straight to Cockeysville where they do a lot of that stuff?
no.
Do we have to, is shredding the only form of destruction that they accept?
Do you have another idea?
I mean,
What?
can we just
On par.
This is,
incinerate, take them to the county incinerator and put them in?
oh, I don't know. Anyway, the cost is really high. I
I'll
don't
check that
know.
for you.
And it's gonna triple, quadruple my budget in shredding, so I just wanted to let you know, I'm gonna try to find the money somewhere else, but because we had to hold on to 2020 so long, we had to hold on to 22 for a minute, now it's time to do 24 private, it's just a lot, and then the forms that were printed in error, the original ballot, ballots that they no longer want to use, they want us to use this different type, we have a whole palette of those, so it's just a lot of shredding. But we need to get it done because it's time to shred that retention, and all the 23 other jurisdictions are shredding, so we need to do it. So I just wanted to make you aware of the extra cost that's gonna take. I'm gonna figure out where I can take it from the budget. We're not going to the Mayo conference in person this year, and I have a little bit of money there, but I'll figure it out because we always do, right? The 2026 legislative session ended on April the 13th, and I provided a recap, a summary in everybody's folder. There's one law that I think Josh is gonna speak to during his report about petition language that came. Did you want to speak to that, or you want me to?
Yeah.
It basically just requires us now, or a petition sponsor to put the questions, ballot questions in plain language so that people can actually understand what they're voting, yes or no. So I'm gonna work with, the county attorney on the county questions and then any, petitions or referendum that we get. When Josh and I do the, determination of sufficiency, we'll make sure that we follow, that law as well if we have any of those, types of petitions. The, there's been, anyway, there, I gave you all, a summary, outline in your folders. If you have any questions about any of the new legislation, please let me know. I also sent you by email a list, so where you can click on the bill and go directly to the bill if you want to do that. Just keep in mind that the election law books that I gave you are not gonna have the new legislation updates. They'll be in the next set of election law books that we get next year. Does that make sense? Okay. So what I normally do is I just go through and mark those, if there's, changes to what's already in law, I just mark those pages to make sure I go to the most recent law. And does anybody have any questions about any of the legislation? All right, I like that. Moving on. The Voter Services Department remains, on time and doing well, just like always. We're meeting all of our deadlines. The Voter Services report goes from March 17th to April 28th because, it goes from the day before the last board meeting till the day before the current board meeting. So that's those numbers. I just wanted to note that, we received, an additional processing, report, which was an extremely heavy lift during an already busy time from State Board. It was the DHMH that was dated after 2007. So we had to manually review, almost 7,000 records. But my team did it. We got through, we're done. And we also stayed on top of all the rest. And those numbers are also included in the monthly report. And it was a backlog, that was received from State Board. All of our staff have been, trained, either a refresher training or new staff was a brand new training on how to process mail-in ballot applications and also receiving and accepting, voting ballots. And, we also explain like when a ballot needs to be cured because of a signature. Kimberly is overseeing the provisional, ballot department, their development of a training in that area. And we're gonna do that training when we get closer to when we're actually gonna have provisional ballots to process. So, shortly before, she'll start it in May and then do a recap in, like right before early voting starts at the beginning of June, so that it's fresh in everybody's mind how to process provisional ballots. The confidential voters prior to every election, I think, Will, because you asked this question at the last meeting, we have to go through all the confidential voters and any, confidential voters that aren't permanent confidential, for example, or automatic confidential, I should say, for example, a sitting judge, any of those voters, they have to get renewed so they either tell us, yes, we're renewed, or this is why I need to be renewed, or no, I don't need to be confidential anymore. So that process has already started. There's 44 of those, that type of voter, and we've received about 50% back so far. So Rita's doing a follow-up by email and calling those voters. We are not removing their confidential status until we've made sure that they received our document and know that they need to return it, things like that.
22 out of the 44 have returned it and said they still need to remain on it.
Some of them did, and a couple
This is
said
just-
no more.
Okay, so this is 22 have
That's
replied back.
them back, yes.
They might not all stay on, but all
Yes.
20, okay.
And you all don't have to reapprove them. They just continue.
As long as the paperwork is, they
Exactly.
meet the same qualifications as
Yes.
before.
Yep. And Rita's gonna stay on top of that. I do have one confidential voter, request submission. Do you want to do it now or do you want to do it under new, business.
Doing under new.
Okay. So, I held I'm sorry.
I'd like to just ask a question about the voter services statistics. On the second page, at the bottom, it says 20 review, and it gives a 41,000. And then under that, it says number of 32. I don't understand what the difference is in those two items.
You should have a copy in your folder.
Is the total number the ones that we've done from the beginning, and this is just from this period? Is that what that's?
Yes, the overall, that's the running total from each one.
Right, that's the running total since they've started the process, and this is just during this particular session.
So can we label that a little different next time?
You can put reviewed to date at
Yeah.
the top, yep,
Review
and
to
then
date, yeah.
the underneath will be this portion.
Is there any other questions on that or anything we've talked about so far? That was good. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm so used, I know what I'm reading and Kim knows what she's reading, so we just don't even think about stuff like that. So thank you very much. Okay, I said that part. So I held my first of 3 election planning meetings with all our agency partners. All the dates of those are in the front of the report under important events and dates. There's also state, security briefing meetings, scheduled where we meet with the state board and the state partners. And then we redid, I gotta take this much credit and give Amanda this much credit. We redid our law enforcement book for 2026. Everybody has a copy in their folder. These are the pocket guides. If you want more than one, let me know, because we also give them to the police department. So every officer that is on patrol during early voting or on election day has a copy of this guide. And then we also share it with like Rec and Parks and Aging, because we use they host early voting, and we share it with the school system. So this pocket guide copy is or there's a sample in your folder.
On the pocket guide, I happened to run into a representative of the police department recently, and they had received the pocket guides that you distributed. They were just finishing up finalizing their own version of directions to the police officers during the election season.
So that's not the same thing. They haven't received it yet. I haven't even dropped them off yet. I have them counted and they're sitting in my office. That is a different guide. So years ago, Katie and I, the previous director, came up with a copy it's a document like this for police officers that lists all of the laws. When we started doing this, and I started in 22, meeting and having the command center, we never had a command center before and all that. When we changed all that, that's when those in charge decided they would update that version. I didn't need to worry about it as long as I gave them the updates and things like that. So he has the old pocket guide maybe from 24, but I know he doesn't have the new one because they're counted in my office. We haven't dropped them off at headquarters yet. But so he's talking about he's talking about their guide. So they have a 8.5 by 11 document that I made, I don't know, probably in 2018. And then every year we would update that with the police department. But the process changed a little. So whoever you talk to probably just didn't understand all that.
Well, Meg Ferguson is the person that I spoke with, and she was aware of this. I don't know.
Yeah, she joined the meeting and she knows they're coming.
Yes, and so she wanted me to know that there is a more elaborate version, probably this 8.5 by 11 that you're.
Yes, it is. This is just
They
the,
distribute to their police officers.
right, this is just the quick reference guide. Once they update the other version, I will give it all to you so that you have both. That one, like you said, is more detailed. This is just a quick reference guide that the officers keep in their pocket.
Thank you for the explanation.
You're welcome. No problem. Um. Okay, after redistricting, the redistricting process, on our website, we have that link where voters can click and it's called Where Do I Vote? Well, for years, it's been super easy to update that every election cycle because we just would have to like update if we reduced or changed polling locations or increased them or whatever. But this year, it was a lot more complicated because the county council went to 9, the Board of Ed stayed at 7, and we added 15 polling precincts. So the lift was a little heavier. But I worked with OIT for the last couple months. And I have so much IT experience. No, I'm just teasing. They are the ones that should take the credit. But anyway, I work with them. We figured out what report will, what upload works the best to link it. And it's ready to go live on May 11th, which is wonderful. Right now, there's a note to any voters that try to use it now that says it's under construction. Be patient with us, because it was a lot of moving parts to get it right. The go live date is May 11th. I'm excited about that because it also starts the requirement for our public voter education for the election. And it's also around the same time our voter guides are going out. So the timing is perfect with the Where Do I Vote? And thank you and appreciation. It's ended to our county OIT department. They are incredibly helpful and work with us on so many things. Like I just mentioned, the voter guide's gonna be mailed over the next couple weeks, and then it'll be as required by law now, it'll be available in English and Spanish on our website. Ballot boxes are gonna be placed the week of May 4th, the exact schedule. We have the exact schedule and we will notify all the locations of the timeline. So there were 9, I think, either relocated or new ballot boxes, and I might be wrong on that number, it's maybe a little bit more. All of those locations, except for 2, I have personally visited like Victory Villa, Towson University, all of the ones where there was any question. And I have 2 appointments this afternoon, one at the old courthouse and one at Rosedale Rec. Those are the last 2 left to figure out a placement so that all of our boxes are absolutely ADA compatible, have wheelchair access. It's important for everybody to know the boxes were never designed, nor is the placement designed for someone just to pull up in their car, roll down the window and drop the ballot in. That's not what the boxes ever were designed to do, and that's not one of the requirements. It needs to be convenient, voter friendly, and ADA accessible. So we've moved the Victory Villa box, we've moved the Towson University box, still in the same general vicinity, so nobody can miss it. But they will now not interfere with voter lines. Victory Villa never had the lines we had in 2024. That's a very popular site now. So it never dawned on us that the box was gonna block voter lines because we never had voter lines, but we did in 24. But now we found a location that is perfect. It's within camera view. And then the other 2 locations, like I said, where Amanda and I are meeting them this afternoon. So they'll be finalized by the end of this week. And then ballot boxes will be delivered the week of May 4th. They all have 24/7 video surveillance. We even found a location for CCBC. We met with them. We talked to them about their camera surveillance, the requirement for 22-hour or 22-month retention. All of that is taken care of with CCBC. UMBC, we're delivering that box on May 7th. And as you know, that box is inside the Commons, and who has security inside, and it also has a camera. That's the only box that we have that is inside a building, but it's not the regular box, it's a tabletop box. Any questions on the ballot box placement or delivery? All right. So a lot of voting option, what does a web delivery ballot mean? And a lot of people thought it meant people could email their ballot in or, somehow vote online or whatever, and that's not what it's ever meant. A web delivery ballot is actually a ballot that gets emailed to the voter prints it at home, and then either delivers it back to the board, either through the mail or a ballot box or in person. So the state board, and I actually think this is a great idea, all the front facing stuff is gonna refer to it as printed home ballots, which makes it much easier for voters to understand. So we're in the process of changing all of our, voter information and education along with our website. It's just taken us a little minute to make sure we hit all the places. Go ahead.
Bring it home just to make sure
Thank you.
signature never,
Checked it once, but I'm gonna verify
just to
again.
make sure that their signature never shows up on the ballot, so we don't have any issues.
Tisha, can you, I'm gonna write it on mine, but can you write it on your notes to remind me of that by the end of today? I just want to follow up with Jen. Because we have a 2-page ballot, I think it's gonna work. It was when we had a 3-page ballot when it didn't work, right?
Right.
So it was either a 1-page ballot or a 3, but when it was 1 page front and back, we didn't have that problem, right?
When it was right, when the ballot prints on 3, then the 4th page is blank, so that's when the voter oath shows up on there when they print it out, and then it causes us to not be able to, if it's a 1-page or if it's an odd then the oath prints on the back of one of those pages, and then it makes us have a signature on a ballot.
Okay, so I haven't gotten my proofs for the final, for that I have the proof on the ballot, like I have the ballot, so we can send them, but I just need to verify with state board. But I'm thinking, you're right, it was when it was 1 or 3 pages where we had the issue. So it's a 1-page ballot, but it's technically 2 because it's front
Front
and
and
back.
back, then there's no room, then it's gonna force the
It's gonna force that other page,
print on its own, which is fine.
because it was the 3rd part that printed out, yeah. All right, but I'm gonna verify that though. I'll verify that today, I promise. I promise. Because Tish is gonna remind me, otherwise I'm gonna forget. But thanks, Will, thank you so much for bringing that up. So the ballot printing, and mail-in ballots should start to be delivered to mailboxes during the week of May 6th, or ballot printing already started. The state has a mail house that prints all of the, by mail ballots right now. We don't have to do them in-house. When we get closer to the election, we have to do them in-house. So they'll start hitting the mailboxes around May 6th or so. And then, the email printed home ballots will start hitting the, email accounts, around the same time. Man and I met with the transportation vendors to go over that equipment delivery and also, the ballot box delivery, but we also met with them to discuss equipment delivery for early voting and for election night. And we do use the same vendor, although we pay the cost directly for our regional collection network. So we started the process for that agreement, so that a truck will be at every regional collection site. We've already started that. And then, by the way, when I met with the law enforcement, they're gonna do everything they did last time and a little bit more with following trucks and results and being here. So all of those RCNs and early voting locations will all be covered when there's results and things like that being loaded into vehicles. One of the obstacles that we're facing is because of the election date is June 23rd. It's right around major holidays. Juneteenth is one of the holidays, and it happens to be the Friday before, or the Friday when all of the election equipment needs to be delivered. And it takes a week and a half or so for us to deliver to all of our precincts. So losing a day is a big deal for a large county, because so all the schools are closed. We can't deliver to schools. As you know, most of our polling places on election day are schools. Early voting equipment delivery doesn't matter because we do that the day before early voting. So what, we did was, I contacted property management, and they are willing to work with me and, help open the rec centers and the senior centers on June 10th, so we can still have some deliveries on that day. And then Mary Frances, bless her heart, she contacted all of our privates. And I think 14 or 15 out of the 19 agreed to have deliveries on June 19th. So, we haven't received the, delivery schedule yet. But I'm hoping that that won't slow Amanda down. The last thing we need is for a whole bunch of precincts to be delivered on Monday, the day before the election, because anything can go wrong. So as much as possible, and if it could go wrong in
Everything.
Baltimore County, we learn it does, right? So that's why it was a big deal when I found out we were losing that whole Friday. So it was either deliver the equipment real super early or deliver a whole bunch of equipment on Monday, and that was not my optimal choice. So we're working with the transportation company to try to still have the same number of deliveries, but just maybe not the same locations that we normally deliver on that Friday before Election Day. The League of Women Voters will again conduct the polling place surveys. I've set up 3 different dates. Last election, I gave them 2. I used to years ago, give them 3 choices. Last year we couldn't just because of the resources and timing, but this year I gave them 3 different dates, one day during the week, a Saturday and one evening, for them to come in and do their training for the polling place surveys. And this election cycle starts the new cycle of surveys. So 24, we closed the gap and did the remaining 50%, 25% in the primary, 25% in the general. So now we're starting all over, and we'll do 25% of our total in the primary, 25% in the general, for a total of 50% for 2026. And then in 2028, that'll be the second part of that cycle. Those are randomly selected. I don't tell the League of Women Voters what precincts to go to. I just let them know. I give them a polling place list and I let them know how many I need done. And because I don't want it to be pre-planned, I want it to be a true survey so that we can get the best information and feedback to make corrections or lessons learned or whatever. So I don't know what precincts they'll be visiting, but I do know once I get the surveys back. And then you all will pick the precincts that I have to do the comprehensive audit on election night when you all meet at 8:30. I think you're still gonna be at the command center. So Amanda will send you a virtual link. And then, Derek, I know the day was long for you last time and you went home and joined virtually. If you want to do that again, let Amanda know. And then you guys can just designate me or one of whoever's here in person to pick your precincts, or Kim or Tisha or Josh. I think you picked one time for somebody. So that way, it's still randomly selected. So, and that number is 25% of our, precincts, or is it 10%? I forget. It ends up being 13. I forget, 50, 25%, maybe it's 10%. I forget right off the top of my head, but I know you picked 13 for me. So we'll have all the precinct numbers with the new precincts in a bucket, and you guys just take turns picking, and then that's who I have to do the comprehensive audit. And don't forget that we also add any polling place that has a variance of 5 or more check-ins versus ballots cast. We have to add that to the precincts that I completely do a thorough comprehensive audit on. So that's at 8:30. We made the meeting before at 8 o'clock, but it doesn't work with polls closing at 8. So we changed it to 8:30. I hope that's okay with everybody. And usually that's about all we talk about. I think in the past you guys might have approved minutes or something from the meeting before. If you all want more stuff on the agenda or whatever, let Will know, and then he can have me create, but by that time, everybody's pretty much, and what you guys usually do is, Will had me last time put on the agenda just so election day wrap up, and I just gave you an overview of how it went. Most of you already know how it went because you were doing something for me all day, run here, run there. Yeah, if there's something else, just let, Will know and maybe copy me, and then we can make sure the agenda includes that.
That was one of my notes. The ballot support boxes, the blue bins, will you have those for May?
So for May 27th, yeah, they're gonna have that, and I know Laverne doesn't need one because she comes in here and helps me with early voting canvas results. I forget, Laverne helps me, so she doesn't really necessarily need one. I think she needs a smaller one that might just have like I voted stickers and stuff like that, but she doesn't need the big one with the printer and all that stuff. And then Derek doesn't need one because you're gonna be at the command center. You're gonna be at the command center, but you last time still take one.
I still take one because I drive around in the morning and I like to stop at some of the polling places
Yeah.
in my area.
And then,
And then I go to the command center.
and you help me during early voting. You're not doing that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Give me one. So that way I can.
Did need it.
I only went to like 7 places. It's
Okay.
okay.
But it was.
Did you decide if you wanted one of those?
Yes, please.
Okay, then, you guys are visiting polling places or whatever, I can say, hey, on your way in, can you stop here and drop off this or whatever? And that really helps. Now, at 1:30, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, what did you say? Time you need it? 1, because it's due by 4. They're embargoed or is the early voting canvas results. They can't be here and I need a Dem and rep. So it could be 2 Dems and 1 rep, but you have to come in on election day. I forget what time you got here last time, but whatever time it is, please come again. And then Peta and Laverne can decide. Both of you can be here. That always helps if it's more than, but I do need for that to start running the results for early voting. Remember, we live stream it, but the results are embargoed. You are with me all day. You don't have a choice. Okay. That's,
I spend all days with much worse people in your room. Don't worry. I'm more than happy.
all right. Perfect. So, voting, we started now they still require 3 signal testings for early voting, and now there's 4 for our RCN locations. We've done 1 of each, so we've already completed 1, and the other dates are on, the list. I got those scheduled way early, because everything's filling in too quick, so I'm trying to get everything, scheduled way in advance. Oh, I forgot to say this, I did meet with the security team that patrols our ballot boxes between 5 PM and 7 AM when the buildings are closed. I met with them once. I have 1 more meeting with them again at the end of this week, I think, before they start the following week. Because as soon as ballot boxes are delivered, they start that extra patrol, and they do the hourly patrols, and that's on top of the 24/7 video surveillance. And then what they do is, we have them take a picture of the front of the box that shows the tamper tape and the locks are in place. And then they upload it to a Smart Sheet. They have like a survey thing that they click the link. And then Amanda and I continuously monitor that to make sure every box is being, physically patrolled. And then we also have the cameras on our computer, so we can pull them up at any time.
And they fully understand this time, because last time I was
Yes.
sending the email because they were a little confused.
Yes, yes. So they're coming for, when we have the meeting on May 1st, the second meeting with them, we needed a picture of the new ballot boxes because it doesn't have that plate anymore with the lock. Remember, they've changed that. And we kept asking for it, but we didn't get it. So Amanda and Cody and somebody else went to the state board to look at the new voting system. And I asked them to take a picture. So now we can show them, this is what it looks like. this is what we need you to check. And then the ballot box retrieval team members, they've all been hired and they're going through their background fingerprinting right now. And their training is May 2nd on Saturday. And we will, we have the video that Hearst Media showed nationally about our ballot pickup last year. So that shows it from start to beginning. So we are gonna show that video to the team members and to the security company. And then we'll also train them, and show them what to do at the ballot boxes, and that's May 2nd.
And you have county vehicles for them to
We
run.
have, and I picked, well, thank you for remembering all this stuff. It's just a lot to tell you guys and I forget some stuff. So thank you. So we did pick up the county vehicles and they gave us like soccer minivans instead of the SUVs. So they fit the box. Whatever they were, SUVs, we could only fit 10 blue ballot bins in, but these we can fit, what, 12 or something? And they just go in and out more comfortable. So we have those 3 vans, and then of course we have our larger van. So the larger van will be used for the largest route, which is the green route, which is the west side. They have the most, in a one clustered area, they have the most. And then the other 2 will be used for the other 2 routes, yellow and blue, thank you. And yellow is like north, blue is like East Point, those places. And then the other van will be used for our daily go to the post office and all that kind of stuff. So that's why we still ask for 3, even though we have 1.
Did you take the seats out of that miniature van?
They were already out when we
Nice.
got it. Yeah, so it's huge back there. Remember the Equinox, we had to fold down the seat and it just was not. They were brand new and I appreciate the county was like, give Rui the 3 new ones, but they were just too small.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So currently there are 6 unaffiliated candidates that have filed their declaration of intent to appear on the general ballot. I have was notified by 1 more that they plan to file their declaration of intent, but they have not so far. The deadline for them to seek that or to file that declaration is July the 6th, and the deadline for them to complete the requirement of their petition signatures is August the 3rd. So if we have 6 petitions to process in August, I think that there goes our 1 month that we would be able to be off. Pretty much. So I've already told our team, there's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. The law requires us to process petition signatures in 20 days. Plus, they're going on the general ballot, or they could go on the general ballot, and I have to certify that ballot by a certain amount of days. So more to come on that.
Only independent signatures have to be from their district,
From their district.
so all the signatures have to be from their district.
1% of their district. So if they're filing for a county council, it's 1% from that district. If it's a statewide, a countywide contest, like a couple of them are county executive and we have a sheriff, that would be the whole county, 1% of the whole county. It doesn't matter what party affiliation the petition signer is.
Voters in Baltimore County.
Yes. And I've given all of them all of the guidelines, and I gave them a sample of a petition page. I've talked to them verbally. I've sent them emails because this is, a lot of people don't understand the process. And this is kind of new. This doesn't happen very often in our county that I can remember. We have 6 of them, maybe possibility of 7. So it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. The election judge and training department are doing very well. The numbers, the vacancy report is provided in your board folders. Keep in mind that for early voting, we are not officially assigning them until they attend election day training. So that's why the early voting numbers look a little low, but they're all scheduled for training, and they're doing very well on hiring those judges.
If they all complete the trainings, the ones that you have, will you be where you need to be? Because I see you're only
Pretty close.
50% now.
Yeah, and we'd be about 75%, which is about right, because we're at the beginning, almost at the beginning of May, so we have a month left. So we'll be about at 75%. But there's a ton of people that want to work early voting, but we're saying you have to go to election day training first. And then you get assigned to, early voting.
Yeah, I like this report because,
Good.
correct.
That last took the 50-some page report that we had to give you last month and we made it into a spreadsheet, which is much easier to read and to understand and to see what's going
I
on.
get right to 12 and 14 and start looking at the numbers.
So, yeah. Democrats up north, so that's usually what we need. The state board is coming once again to observe our training, and that's gonna happen on May the 1st. You know, they came on May the 17th. They never really gave us information as to the purpose of that visit. And unfortunately, I still haven't received any feedback from that visit. However, the official observance of our training is gonna happen on May 1st. And I believe that we're ready for that. Are there any questions on anything that I talked about? No? Yes.
The state partner
You're gonna
security,
take this. I'm sorry.
state partner security briefings, are those public meetings?
No. To the best of my knowledge, no. I mean, we don't want the public to know all of our safety secrets, I'm guessing, yeah. Yeah, just like my meeting isn't public either. I mean, the board can join if they want, but, yeah, no. Do you want me to talk about that or you?
Oh, you can, because
Lord.
I'm sorry, I didn't see this yet. Oh, actually, hold on.
have
I
seen
have seen this. This is from February.
Yes, you have.
Okay, yeah, I can talk about all
Well,
that.
wait a minute, it's not your turn yet. Wait till your turn. All right,
Jazzed up.
no worries. Okay, so March meeting, I am appointing Kimberly Phillips, the acting deputy director, and will start the recruitment for a permanent deputy director in after we certify in July. I have everything ready, just push the button as soon as we certify, and I'm hoping that we will be able to interview by like the first or second week of August or so. And then I'll reach out about somebody on the board. I know I will, because you're president, and then we need somebody else to sit in on well, we don't need, but I prefer two board members. So more information to come on that. I can't talk about it because, personnel and Kim's in the room. But anyway, congratulations to Kim. She needs to be sworn in today as acting deputy. If Will could do that after the meeting, that would be wonderful. The other thing important to note is although our election is June 23rd, it is also time to do the state performance evaluations, the PEPs. So we have to do them on everybody that I'm the appointing authority over, which is everybody that's a state employee in our office, although it's right around election time, it's still due by like that first week of July. And the board needs to do mine by around the same time. So I put on your June 23rd board meeting, which is that 8 o'clock meeting or 8:30. I put it on there and President, if you're the president, normally what you've done before, if you've talked about it or emailed, and then somebody gives it to me at that meeting. And if that can happen, so that you don't have to give it to me while we're trying to certify the election in July, because we certify July 6th, which is probably right around this time. I'm gonna need to send them all to the state. So if you could make your plan, that's my ask, but it's completely up to you all when you want to do it. And then whether, as long as I just get it delivered to me by the time we
My
certify.
initial thought was for us to have a closed meeting at May's board meeting, so
Okay,
that we could discuss and work on so that we can deliver to you in June.
Okay, so that's a great idea. So let me just remind you, Julie Enzer, the clerk of the circuit court, will be here on the May 27th meeting. We start at 8:30, not 10, because we have public demo that day. So she'll be here to swear you guys in and swear me in, swear Josh in at 8:30. So we have the administration of oath and the regular board meeting. And then public demo, I just need a dem and rep. Last time you, no, last time it was you and, last time it was over, I forget who it was. It was Alan somebody. And then it was Alan Laverne. And then you guys also help me with supply verification. That's due on the same day. So just keep that in mind, but.
So swearing,
We can step out,
but
and
we
you guys can.
swearing in is at 8:30.
Yes.
That's not long.
No,
Then
5 minutes.
We could essentially meet between then and 10 o'clock, our board meeting.
No, the board meeting starts at 8:30. That day.
Swearing in.
Demo starts
The
at
board
10.
meeting. So if we finish the board meeting before we could, if not, we
If
could.
you have a hard stop at 9:30,
We could do that. If not, well, we'll
so we can.
plan to
fit it
spend
in.
a little bit of time here. We got
Yeah.
a couple things to do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we'll add in, if we put it in the closed session, if we put it in our minutes, I mean, in our, announcement that there's gonna be a closed session, it doesn't matter if we take it at 10:30 or 11:30 or 12:30, it makes no difference as long as we've announced
Okay,
that we're gonna be in there, right?
yeah.
We
Yeah.
so we will put that on the agenda for a closed session at our.
Yeah. Last time you guys didn't meet that long for,
Yeah.
because you had already, passed it around or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, we can definitely fit it in. I was just reminding you of the other things going on that day. And then, the state law now requires the state administrator to do an evaluation, director evaluation. That's a little bit different than the PEP program, the performance evaluation program. Jared's gonna do it, sorry, Administrator Demarinis is gonna do it virtually this time, because it's gonna be for year 2025. Your July meeting is the last day of certification, so you guys already said you're not meeting that again a week and a half later, because you're gonna see me every day for like 3 weeks. So you're not meeting again in July, but then in the August meeting was set. Will had said that can be virtual or in person in August. Administrator Demarinis said his participation can be virtual, if that's okay with you, that way. And remember, I'm not in that meeting, it's just you all and him. So we'll have our regular board meeting and then, the 15 or whatever, 30 minutes with Jared. And just keep in mind, it's an evaluation on a non-election year, so there won't be some of the things in it that was before. I'm not, like election judge training, there's really nothing to speak about that because it didn't happen in 2025. Do you know what I mean? So all of the same items might not be in there. There's the comprehensive audit. I'm just trying to think what was in there. Because it's a non-election year and we don't have any municipalities that had an election. So I'm thinking that it take less time because there's not as many categories. That's what I mean. Anyway, if that date doesn't work, our choice was July, August, or September. And they wanted a first and second choice. My first choice was September. My second choice was August, because I remember Will and you all saying, if we can, do that meeting virtually. They came back and said August. So.
Well, we will look at that and make sure, because it is our meeting that he's coming to, so.
Yeah, well. Last or something.
Yeah, we, at the
So,
end.
yeah, so let me know. And like I said, since it's for calendar year 2025, there's no election in that year. So they can't have as many categories as, or maybe, that they had last time, because we didn't do a comprehensive audit because we didn't have an election. Or, I was trying to think of the different categories and I thought, okay, well, I don't know, like a third of those, they can't even
He'll
really.
be a guest at our meeting, so we will make sure it is accommodating for us before it's accommodating for him.
Okay, all right, and then with that, I am finished.
I'd
Unless,
like to be on that panel for the deputy director.
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was gonna ask because, and especially with the state experience that you have,
Yeah.
that's very helpful.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Derek had expressed interest in joining on the interview panel for the deputy.
So in that, and I'll do it like we did before, where once I get the list and we decide how many we have to interview, I can let everybody know the dates of, because it usually takes all day. And then, and I know some jurisdictions do, but I don't. That's not a virtual interview to me. To me, a deputy director should come in person and interview.
Any questions coming out of the director's report? All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, now we jump to board council.
First and foremost, we've not been named in any litigation as primary defendant since our last meeting, which is the most important thing, right? And as it affects our voters in Baltimore County, there are some state and federal things going on. The director did just hand me this, but this is somewhat out of date, but not totally. So the things that are being challenged or were being challenged in Maryland, on this AG's report from February, it basically was mail-in ballots, the subpoenas or the request for documents that the federal government's issued, and then a case which started out as California versus Trump, but has spread to other states, which is more about the federal government imposing rules and regulations on states for voting. If any of you are familiar with the United States Constitution, it allows the states to set up their own voting systems, which creates a nice gray area for a lot of people to make a lot of money in court. So what's happened in California, for the first of the easiest one is the mail-in ballots that was dismissed. Basically, somebody filed a complaint against mail-in ballots and said the United States Post Office is so unreliable that it's too weak of a link to have in our voting system. Going to be pretty hard to find a federal judge to say that. So they didn't, and it was dismissed. The subpoena issue has not been settled in Maryland right now. It's pending a written opinion from our federal court. However, there have been federal judges are nonpartisan, but they're perceived to be partisan based on who appoints them, generally speaking. Rejection of this state by state that has been coming out. I think Arizona yesterday said we're not doing that. And that was a federal judge that was appointed by the current administration. So there is kind of a bipartisan rejection of these blanket subpoenas for all voter rolls. I would venture a guess that Maryland will not come into the right of Arizona on that issue. So I think that that's going to be, and that doesn't really affect us directly, but I think it could have a chilling effect on some Baltimore County voters. So by way of extension, that appears to be going that direction. California versus Trump, they issued an injunction on that. A bunch of other states jumped in. The injunction's still in effect. I think with a lot of these cases, the problem that you have is they're in all these different states, which are then in all these different circuits. So you have, a judge in the Ninth Circuit said this, a judge in the Fourth Circuit said that. This is all going to the Supreme Court. So if they issue these injunctions, they just leave them in place until it gets where it's going. So the injunction is still in place in California versus Trump as far as imposing additional conditions on state and then by default local boards on getting new data, having different standards, things like that. So based on the pace that federal court moves and the pace that we're moving towards our primaries and generals, I don't think any of that stuff is going to affect us in this term in any way, shape, or form. They can't come out.
The only one that might affect us, I believe, is the one that says you can't count one. And the reason I say that is if it comes out before the general, we're gonna have to follow it. So I know that the state board as well as directors are coming up with a plan because basically what they count the ballots twice, or embargo the results or stop counting. Because if it says all the federal contests only can be, the only ballots that can be counted are ballots that are received on or before election day. And then anything Maryland law, the Maryland statewide or local contest.
Received, not postmarked.
Right. anything else would be that still that 10-day window, because that's what Maryland law is for statewide and local. Then we still certify that on that date for for those contests, but the federal contests will have to count only the ballots by election day. So I have to figure out how to do that without the results coming out, because our results reports are gonna have all the contests on the ballot. So I know I know that they're thinking about,
To have results on election day, stop,
right, ballots, right,
and then another run that has everything included
right.
to see what gets included and what doesn't included from
Right.
after election day forward.
Yeah, and I know,
Different column of ballots where we say, all right, these were collected or counted, these collected or counted afterwards.
and I know the state's thinking about it, like, is it something that we can run, is it running the ballot? So, I know that there, so whatever it is that we have to do, it's gonna be a statewide do this, because we are top down. So it's not really anything we need to be concerned about, but it is something we need to know in the back of our minds, this is a possibility or.
And a lot of these motions and these motions dismissed have been pending for months.
Yeah.
So one thing the courts might be doing is basically doing what politicians do with a pocket veto, where it's like, hey, all right, here, we're gonna issue our report, our opinion, the third week of November, so that it doesn't throw a monkey wrench into every single local board of elections in this country and the territories and overseas military bases. So they could basically just slow roll these decisions in a non-presidential year and come out afterwards, which is another thing that would basically help us. Where
Yeah, I mean,
any new rules after the election is fine.
well, yeah, after the election cycle, it's always hard to switch up right in the middle of an election cycle or right before, but yeah. All right, thank you, Josh. Thank you. I have my paper back. That's
Ma'am.
And then. Old business, sorry.
Anything else, or
That's it.
now we've got old business. Any old?
Yeah, so as you know, every election, I need everybody to sign the confidentiality agreements, because the voted ballots are gonna start coming back, so anybody that, goes on the secure side of our building signs the agreement, including all of us. And then the rules of security goes for the board, because you help with the equipment and the early voting canvas and things like that. And then, at the last meeting, I talked about the heat prevention policy that's specific to our agency. A copy of that is in your board folders, and the acknowledgement form saying that you got it. I just need you to sign these 3 documents today and give them back to me. And then copies, we can give you copies of them if you want. Copies after you sign, just let us know. But the policy is in your folder. And then, so yeah, if you guys could just sign these before you go, that would be great, and then give them back to me. This is Peter, your name, now. And then I got the minutes for you too. Josh, here's your.
Didn't sign the minutes. Signed them.
Yeah, we signed.
I signed.
There. What you needed?
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. I got the minutes. Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's
Now I understand what you
Session
said.
and the, right. but-
Perfect. Thank you. That's all the old business I had.
Anybody else have any old business? I didn't think there was. All right. We got confidential voters or anything else, or is it just that so far? Anybody else have any new business from the board members? The confidential voter?
So this we'll refer to as just confidential voter, because we just have one. They have the reason they gave is their disclosure of their residential address or telephone number poses a threat to their safety and is likely to lead to unwarranted and serious invasion of privacy. They have notified us that that their email, their phone, their internet, everything has been stolen, and their identity stolen. I recommend approval, but I believe that she needs to provide some sort of documentation just showing that this has happened. She says that it's happened over the last 3 years. So we I formally, that's what I want to do with her. We did verbally tell her that. It would go before the board. It's up to you all. You don't have to take my recommendation at all. You can say, approve, go ahead and approve it with just what she wrote. But yeah, that's just about it. So you can see on the back what she wrote, her reasoning for it. And you can see where it says, the box she checked, which applies to her. And just as I always like to note this, as soon as we receive one of these, we make the person temporarily confidential till they get through the whole process. And then if they are formally approved, then they remain. If not, they don't.
Well, I mean, the reason here says disclosure of your address or telephone poses a threat to your safety or is likely to lead to unwarranted or serious invasion of privacy. I hate to say this, but I mean, just because people had something, I mean,
Right, and that's what I told her. That's why I need, like, did someone open a credit card in your name? Did you have identity theft? I asked her I think that she should give us something.
I think that, I mean, there's obviously a difference between random identity theft and somebody just cleaning out your checking account and like you affirmatively have a stalker who's stalking you personally.
right, I mean, I don't feel there's, in my even if she does provide something that says her identity's been stolen, I mean, that has nothing to do with voter rolls in my opinion.
Unless it's something specific to her.
If she's being targeted.
Stand.
I mean,
It's never happened to me.
I don't think there's I don't think there's a severe safety risk, in my opinion, but.
We should follow up with her. Maybe there is more to it that she didn't think she had to include because she thought what she said was enough and it might be a potential.
I could do that. I could follow up with her and then let you know at the next meeting what she says.
Well, let's see what everybody else takes a look and maybe we differ on opinions.
I definitely, recommend that we get more from her.
She may have thought that's all she had to put in and left out something that was potentially embarrassing, but we got to tell her, this isn't just.
I mean, you can find all these property tax there's 1,000 other ways
From a voter roll, yeah.
other than a vote. I mean,
State search.
unfortunately,
Not everybody's been arrested, but everybody's got to.
Big Brother.
Don't we always get notification that, because of this million-person breach, your social security number?
Yes.
I have two right now, Comcast and AT&T. I was on
I mean,
theirs.
If that was, we'd have to, every voter could find one of those reasons to go on confidential.
I didn't think about this till you guys said that. We don't give out phone numbers and email addresses. We only give out name, address, and party affiliation. So the email address and the phone number, we don't give those out anyway. I just thought of that, and she wrote that on there, her email address and phone number, but we don't give that. It's not on our list.
If you register at the Maryland State Archives, which anybody can do, then you can go into all the property records by county and search by name. So you could go to Baltimore County and put Nally in there, and it will not only have your current address, all your mortgage documents, all your refi documents, everything that's filed, but basically every property you've ever owned in Baltimore County. So I went in just for laughs once and found the first house my parents bought, and there was 200 pages of mortgage paperwork in there from 1976.
Mortgage paperwork.
$12,000 house.
The thoughts
You're hiding out.
of the board here for, I mean, do we want to take Rui's recommendation to reach back out to the voter and see if there's anything additional that we should consider? Maybe they didn't fill out. I don't think that what is provided warrants confidentiality, in my opinion, right now. How does everybody else feel?
I think additional information.
So we'll leave it on confidential for now. She'll reach out to the voter and we'll bring this back at our May meeting to see if any additional information was provided that will.
No. it's good.
You need us to make a motion for you to go back? So would someone make a motion that we will keep this voter on confidential until Rui has given them time to reach out to see if there's additional information to be considered at the May meeting? Will someone make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Perfect, thank you. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right,
We keep her right.
any further discussion? All right, all in favor of that motion and second, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Excuse me.
All right. Confident. No other new business, right? Nothing else? All right, let's go to announcements and disclosures of campaign contributions. We'll start at the end and work our way down. Anything?
Yes, I contributed $150 to Sharonda Huffman for the council.
Right?
Nothing.
Oh, no.
Nothing.
Nothing. And I wrote out the check. I didn't put it in person yet, but Johnny Salling, $70. Salling, Salling. I'm gonna disclose that now because I didn't give it to him, but I wrote it out.
Okay. Derek said no.
Right. Just Peter and I so far. Josh, anything?
I do, yes. So I don't have a campaign contribution, but I have a disclosure. At the last meeting, I told you I was gonna attend yesterday's, advocacy day for, federal funding for election security infrastructure. I did attend. I met with, two, councilmen or congressmen directly, Congressman Oshesky. And I met with the staff for, Senator Alsobrooks. I'm sorry, Senator Alsobrooks, Senator Van Hollen. Met with the staff for Congressman Harris. And met with the staff for, April Delaney. And then I also met with, Steny Hoyer. He's the chairman of the committee that works on the financing.
But all of these are actually work-related, not personal.
That's correct, but I still have to disclose it because I did go.
Yep. You weren't soliciting anything personally. You were all work-related conversations. Yep.
So that's all I had.
Did you go down to DC?
Yes.
Very nice.
I've been walking, I keep meaning to look at the steps.
Did you take the train down?
So the king and queen were there the same day. So if you remember when I went last year, something big happened and it was a freaking everything all in DC. So the king and queen were there yesterday and they met with Congress at 3:30. So my direct appointments, when I got to meet face to face with the congressman or the senator, they happened earlier in the day. Because it was 3:30 when they were all going, so it was staff members later in the afternoon. But they had the streets all cleared, so instead of being able to walk across the street, go to one building, you had to walk all the way down and around and then through the tunnel. And I was just like, good God, this is a lot of walking. And if you would have gotten like a Uber or a Lyft, it probably would have taken you 3 times as long. And then the president had I guess a state dinner with him or something later in the day. So the meeting was over at 8:00. My last appointment was with Senator Van Hollen at like 4:45, and then from 5 to 8 they had like a little reception and then a briefing on what happened. So by the time I got ready to come home, it's like 9:30. And the traffic had died down, but I still took the wrong way. So it still took me like an hour and a half, 45 minutes to get home. I'm like, this has not been my day. Like the one time that the king and queen have not been to address Congress for a long time, the one day is the day I go to DC. But yeah, it was interesting. And we got to see part of what the king was saying. Did anybody get to see that? I only got to see a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Mental note, do not travel with Rui.
Right. Thought that's fake news. They're not coming. A couple days before I was going. And I didn't pay attention to the regular news to know that it wasn't fake news. So when we got there yesterday morning, that's what Congressman Oshesky said. I'm glad I'm meeting whatever. And I was like, that's really happening. And then plus they took our picture at like 7:30 in the morning on the Capitol steps because, they clear all the trash cans and they block all the roadblocks and all that stuff was happening. So yeah, it was very interesting. Very interesting. And I think maybe a successful day too. So I'm hoping, there was one congressman, just for your general information, one congressman's, legal aid that thought that if they do give us money and allocate it, I think their budget starts October 1st. That how are we gonna spend it by November, by election day? There's not enough time to spend that money, so don't worry about it. This budget we'll worry about. So I kind of, at first I was just like, so then I explained to him, okay, it actually takes 15 months to prepare for election and the equipment needs to be warehoused in temperature controlled buildings all year long. And it's not, so he thought like if they did pass a higher amount, how would we spend it that quick in a month's time? And I thought, well, give it to us and we'll show you, but I didn't say that. But people still have that perception that we don't do anything except for once or twice a year or whatever. And I took the time to explain to them, no. And, and I also explained, we have all this new equipment and have an additional HAVA funding to trickle down to the local boards to help us cover all the new equipment and the new voter registration system. And all of that stuff will really help the everyday person because our county budget funds most of what our county funds the budget. Our county voters funds our budget, and 90% of what is spent is paid for fully by our county. So I don't know. Hopefully I did some good, or we did some good. There's a bunch of us. I'm trying to see how many steps I walked yesterday.
Any other announcements or anything we need? If not, everybody does have the meeting information at the bottom there, for May and June.
I noticed in our package also were evaluation forms for election judge training and for polling place.
Just for your general information, yeah.
How are these distributed and used?
So the League of Women Voters does the polling place surveys.
This is what they use.
Well, the polling place ones and the election judge one, remember I said the state board's coming May 1st? That's the one he'll use when he comes May 1st. Yeah. So League of Women Voters uses that, and then I use it for early voting. I think Al comes and helps me do, I have to visit early voting twice. Because we have 2 4-day shifts of judges. So early voting we go twice, so that's the form I would use. And then I think Al and Laverne helped me on a couple, before.
I did Lover's Edge.
Yeah, and then, so I'll say you two did a couple. So when we get closer, we can decide if you guys feel like helping me with some of the early voting, because that does take a little bit of burden off of me in those 8 days. It's hard for me to get to all of them 2 times. And then election day, the League of Women Voters, and that's what I was saying, we come in and we give them a training on how to fill out that survey. But the survey is required by the state, and then it's submitted and it's part of their part of the comprehensive audit of the election. And then same with the election judge training, the state comes and visits, and that's the for the checklist that they use. And that's the visit that I was talking about for May 1st.
And does the staff collect evaluation forms or some kind of feedback after training?
Yeah, yes. Yeah, it's a link. We send them a link. They'll get a link, and then they also get another by email, and then they get another link that with reminders and stuff like that before election day. You're welcome.
Any other announcements or anything? If not, we'll make a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Seeing none, we are adjourned at 11:38.
So I walked 12,857 steps yesterday. That's a lot of steps. And that's That would,
Long day,
that's a lot of steps.
long day.
I wonder my back hurts today. Yep.